Mr. Wilson comes home one night, and his wife throws her arms around his neck. I have great news. I'm a month overdue. I think we're going to have a baby. The doctor gave me a test today, but until we find out for sure, we can't tell anybody. The next day, Mrs. Wilson receives a telephone call from AEC, Atlanta Electric Company, because the electricity bill has not been paid. Am I speaking to Mrs. Wilson? Yes. Speaking. AEC guy. You're a month overdue, you know. How do you know? Stammers the young woman. Well, ma'am, it's in our files, says the AEC guy. What are you saying? It's in your files. How? Yes. We have a system of finding out who's overdue. Oh! This is too much. Madam, I am sorry. I am following orders. I have to inform you are overdue. I know that. Let me talk to my husband about this tonight. He will speak to your company tomorrow. That night, she tells her husband about the call, and he, mad as a bull, rushes to AEC office the next day morning. What's going on? You have it on file that my wife is a month overdue? What business is that of yours? The husband shouts. Just calm down, says the lady at the reception at AEC. It's nothing serious. All you have to do is pay us. Pay you? And if I refuse? Well, in that case, sir, we'd have no option but to cut yours off. And what would my wife do then? The husband asks. I don't know. I guess she'd have to use a candle.
Dustin and Jane, both blonde, were delighted when finally their long wait to adopt a baby had come to an end. The adoption center called and told them they had a wonderful Russian baby boy, and the couple took him without hesitation. On the way home from the adoption center, they stopped by the local college so they each could enroll in night courses. After they filled out the form, the registration clerk inquired, "Whatever possessed you to study Russian?" The couple said proudly, "We just adopted a Russian baby and in a year or so he'll start to talk. We just want to be able to understand him."
A kid in school hands in a blank piece of paper for his art homework. The teacher says, "What's this?" The kid says, "A picture of a cow eating grass." The teacher asks, "Where's the grass?" The kid says, "The cow ate it all." "Okay, then where's the cow?" "It left because there was no more grass."
Little Johnny's neighbor had a baby. Unfortunately, the baby was born without ears. When mother and new baby came home from the hospital, Johnny's family was invited over to see the baby. Before they left their house, little Johnny's dad had a talk with him and explained that the baby had no ears. His dad also told him that if he so much mentioned anything about the baby's missing ears, or even said the word ears, he would get the smacking of his life when they came back home. Little Johnny told his dad he understood completely. When Johnny looked in the crib he said, "What a beautiful baby." The mother said, "Why, thank you, Johnny." Johnny said, "He has beautiful little feet, beautiful little hands, a cute little nose and really beautiful eyes." "Can he see all right?" "Yes," the mother replied, "we are so thankful. The doctor said he will have 20/20's vision." "That's great," said little Johnny, "because if he needs glasses, he'll be helped."
James Bond walks into a bar. He looks around, and takes a seat neat to a very attractive woman. He gives her a quick glance, then causally looks at his watch for a moment. The woman notices this and asks, "Is your date running late?" "No," he replies. "Q has just given me this state-of-the-art watch. I was just testing it." The intrigued woman says, "A state-of-the-art watch? What's so special about it?" Bond explains, "It uses alpha waves to talk to me telepathically." The lady says, "What's it telling you now?" "Well, it says you are not wearing any panties." The woman giggles and replies, "Well, it must be broken because I am wearing panties." Bond smirks, taps his watch.
Little Johnny's art projects. Little Johnny's parents are concerned about the artwork he is bringing home from school. All the coloring is brown or black. Could this indicate a mental health problem? They take him to a psychologist. The psychologist wants to see Johnny at work on art and gives him a sheet of paper and a brand new box of crayons. "Oh, good," says Johnny. "A whole set of crayons. All we have left at school is black and brown."
A boy tells his father, "Dad, my math teacher is asking to see you." The father asks, "What happened?" "Well, she asks me, 'How much is 7 times 9?' I answer 63 foot, then she asks, 'And 9 by 7, so I ask what's the fucking difference?" "Indeed, what is the difference?" says the father. "Sure, I'll go." The next day, the boy comes home from school and asks, "Dad, have you gone by the school?" "Not yet," the dad replies. The boy says, "Well, when you do, come and see the gym teacher also." "Why?" asks the father. The boy answers, "Well, we had a gym class today, and he asked me to raise my left arm, so I did. Then my right arm, so I raised it. Then he asked me to lift my right leg, so I did. Now he says, 'Lift your left leg,' so I answer, 'What, am I supposed to stand on my cock?'" A boy tells his father, "Dad, my math teacher is asking to see you." The father asks, "What happened?" "Well, she asks me, 'How much is 7 times 9?' I answer 63 foot, then she asks, 'And 9 by 7, so I ask what's the fucking difference?' "Indeed, what is the difference?" says the father. "Sure, I'll go." The next day, the boy comes home from school and asks, "Dad, have you gone by the school?" "Not yet," the dad replies. The boy says, "Well, when you do, come and see the gym teacher also." "Why?" asks the father. The boy answers, "Well, we had a gym class today, and he asked me to raise my left arm, so I did. Then my right arm, so I raised it. Then he asked me to lift my right leg, so I did. Now he says, 'Lift your left leg,' so I answer, 'What, am I supposed to stand on my cock?'" "Exactly," says the father. "All right, I'll come." The next day, the boy asks his father, "Did you go by the school?" "No, not yet." "Don't bother, I got expelled." The father asks, surprised, "Why did you get expelled?" "They summoned me to the principal's office, and there were the math teacher, the gym teacher, and the art teacher." "What was the art teacher doing there?" the father asked. "That's what I said."
What is democracy? A boy is asked at school as homework. So the little boy goes to his dad and asks, "What is democracy?" Dad says, "Well, son, let me try to explain it this way. I'm the breadwinner of the family, so let's call me capitalist. Your mom spends the money, so we'll call her the government. Nanny is working at home for money, she's the worker class. We're here to spend that money to take care of you, the people. And your baby brother in bed, the future." So the little boy goes off to bed and later hears his baby brother crying. He gets up to check on him and finds that he severely soiled his diaper. So the boy goes to his parents' room and finds his mother sound asleep. Not wanting to wake her, he goes to the nanny's room. Finding the door locked, he peeps in the keyhole and sees his father in bed with the nanny. He gives up and goes back to bed. The next morning, the little boy goes to school. When teacher asks if anyone got the answer to the homework, he raises hand. Democracy is, while capitalists are screwing the working class, the government is sound asleep, the people are being ignored, and the future is in deep.
A man is visiting a foreign country but does not speak the language that they speak there. He decides to go to a church service, but the priest is speaking the native language. So the American man just does whatever the man in front of him does. When the man in front of him stands, so does the American man. When the man in front of him sits, so does the American man. At one point, the priest says something, and the man in front of him stood. So the American man stood too. Everyone in the church gasped, so the American man hurriedly sat back down. Later, the American man figured out that the priest was congratulating a birth. When he had asked who was the father, and both men stood up, it had caused some confusion.
High-ranking politicians visit a school. The top one goes over the expenses and decides to make adjustments to cut costs. The lunch portions are too big. Cut them in half. Internet connection too fast. Too many computers. After that, they go to a preschool. Again, the expenses are too great. The lunch portions are too big. Reduce them to half. Too many toys around. After the preschool, they go to a prison. The lunch portions are too small and the selection is too limited. Get faster broadband and more comfortable beds. TVs are too old. Get a few consoles as well. One of them asks the leader, baffled. Are you mad? We just cut costs in schools and preschools, and now you do this? My friend. We will never go to school or preschool again. But we can still easily end up here.
A retired man purchased a home near a high school. He spent the first few weeks of his retirement in peace, then the new school year began. One afternoon early into the first semester, 3 loud young boys came down his street, beating merrily on every bin they came across. They then did so the following day and the day after that, until finally the retiree decided it was time to take some action. The next afternoon, he walked out to meet the boys as they banged their way down the street. Stopping them, he said, "You kids are a lot of fun. I used to do the same thing when I was your age. Will you do me a favor? I'll give you each $1 if you'll promise to come around every day and do your thing." The boys were more than happy and continued to bang the bins every day on their walk home. After a week, the old man walked out and greeted the kids again. However, this time, he didn't have a smile on his face. "This recession's really putting a big dent in my income," he told them. "I'm going to have to cut it down to 50 cents a day to keep you kids banging the bins." The kids were obviously unimpressed, but they accepted the reduction in payment and continued their afternoon activities. A few days later, the man approached them again. "Look," he said, "I haven't received my retirement checks yet, so I'm not going to be able to give you more than 25 cents to bang on the bins. Will that be okay?" "That's it," the drum leader exclaimed. "If you think we're going to waste our time beating these around for 25 cents a day, you're nuts." "No way, mister. We quit." And the man enjoyed peace and serenity for the rest of his days.
2 men and a woman are going to hitman school. And their teacher takes one of the men out into the hallway, points at a door and says, "In this room we have your wife. Here's a loaded pistol, go in and kill her." The guy says, "Okay." He goes into the room and comes out a few minutes later. He says, "I love her, I can't do it." The teacher says, "You don't have what it takes to be a hitman, get out of here." The teacher then does the same thing with the other guy with the same result. He then takes the woman out into the hallway, points at a door and says, "In this room we have your husband. Here's a loaded pistol, go in and kill him." She goes into the room and he hears a gunshot and then all breaking loose. There's yelling and screaming plus furniture being broken. After about 15 minutes of this, the woman comes out looking disheveled and says, "Why the hell did you put blanks in the gun?" "I had to beat the son of a death."
Teacher. 4 crows are on the fence. The farmer shoots one. How many are left? Little Johnny. None. Teacher. Listen carefully. 4 crows are on the fence. The farmer shoots one. How many are left? Little Johnny. None. Teacher. Can you explain that answer? Little Johnny. One is shot, the others fly away. There are none left. Teacher. Well, that isn't the correct answer, but I like the way you think. Little Johnny. Teacher, can I ask a question? Teacher. Sure. Little Johnny. There are 3 women in the ice cream parlor. One is licking, one is biting, and one is sucking her ice cream cone. Which one is married? Teacher. The one sucking the cone. Little Johnny. No. The one with the wedding ring on, but I like the way you think.
Little Johnny was at school one day when he noticed that there was a large crowd of kids gathered around little Billy. Little Johnny walks up to little Billy and says, "Hey, what's all the excitement about?" Little Billy says, "Just showing everyone my new watch." Little Johnny goes, "Wow, that's a cool watch, where did you get it?" Little Billy says, "Well, I walked in on my mom and dad sleep the weekend, and my dad was so mad he gave me spanking and sent me to my room. The next day, he felt guilty about what he had done and went and bought me this cool watch." This gives little Johnny a good idea. Later that night, when little Johnny was sent to bed, he stayed up listening and waiting for his mom and dad to go to bed. Once he starts hearing noises coming from their room, he runs down the hall, throws their bedroom door open, and yells, "I want a watch." His dad looks over to Johnny and says, "Well, okay, but sit in the corner and be quiet." Hey there, I put a lot effort into making these videos, so please subscribe for more jokes and stay happy, thank you.